my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel where we do talk all things true crime. If that's something that you're into and you do appreciate today's case coverage, hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and do all the things that the algorithm loves for us to do. So I'm not going to keep you waiting. I'm going to go ahead and get right into the podcast. We are going to be watching the sentencing. So we have been following the Idaho massacre. This is season 3 ever since it started. And so I'm just putting out the rest of the episodes that we missed that are a little bit older. So as we all know, in July 2025, the families of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin finally faced convicted killer Bryan Kohberger in court. In powerful victim impact statements, they spoke of grief, fury, and resilience while the world waited to see if Kohberger would break his silence and explain why. I will put up visuals as you guys are watching this. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it.
What happened that night changed everything. Because of him.
This was Bryan Kohberger's legal funeral.
No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important.
And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, I'm here. I'll be that one that'll listen to you, okay?
This is The Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Season 3, Episode 2, Sentencing. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Leidiger and Gabriel Castillo. On July 23, 2025, for the first time in nearly 3 years, the families and friends of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were finally given the opportunity to confront the man who had been accused and who now admitted to murdering their loved ones in cold blood.
He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing.
It was an emotional day in court. The gallery was packed and the atmosphere was tense. One by one, family members stood and spoke directly to Bryan Kohberger. Some shared beautiful, heartbreaking memories. Others unleashed years of grief and anger, and through it all, the room was filled with tears, silence, and sometimes stunning moments of strength.
You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you.
Kohberger sat just feet away, his face expressionless, his posture still.
I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast.
And throughout the entire proceeding, there was one question on everyone's mind. Would he speak? Would he explain why he did it? Would he apologize? It was a final, resounding judgment, but still, there was one thing everyone was waiting for. Here's law and crime journalist Anjanette Levy speaking with one of our producers, Allison Bankston.
Talk to me about the sentencing next. You know, I know you were there as well. That was a very emotional day. That was very powerful to watch.
It was incredibly heavy. When we walked in, Bryan Kohberger was wearing an orange jail jumpsuit. We fully expected that. His presumption of innocence no longer exists. And he's sitting there in all orange and in handcuffs. He looked a little more pale, a little more gaunt.
Did he seem nervous up there at all? Fiddling with his hands? Like, what was his vibe like?
Bryan Kohberger looked like he was kind of steeling himself for what was coming, and he was clenching his jaw at times. And at times he would kind of poke his tongue to the side of his cheek. You could tell he was in some respects bracing himself for what was coming. He knew the victim impact statements were coming.
Here's Judge Stephen Hippler in the courtroom at sentencing.
All right, so with that, let's start with then impact statements. Go ahead.
Your Honor, we will have Bethany Funk's statement, and she has asked that her friend Emily Allant read that statement.
All right, very well.
Bethany Funk was one of the surviving roommates. Her room was on the bottom floor, and she did not come into contact with Bryan Kohberger.
My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I would cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party. But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew. Kaylee had the most beautiful, radiant smile. And she was so kind, but also one of the funniest people I've ever known. I really believe that she could have ruled the world if she wanted to, and she would have been America's sweetheart. Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around, and the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire, and really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. I hope that they are remembered for who they are, not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way.
Here's Stephanie with crime analyst Body Movin'.
We didn't even know these girls and Ethan, right? We didn't know them. Of course, we're not connected to them in any way. But, over the course of the last 2.5 years, we have really learned about how special these people were that were murdered. And we all feel just tremendously sad. And you know who else I was really proud of? Dylan. Yes. Dylan, if you don't know, she's the surviving roommate. I'm gonna get emotional.
This is really, yeah.
She saw Bryan Kohberger. She described him to police. She luckily was spared, thank God. And she walked into court and she asked to sit. And I was so appreciative that Bill Thompson kind of scooted over a little bit. He's the prosecutor, kind of scooted over a little bit so to block Bryan Kohberger from viewing her, or her from viewing him. And she spoke and she told her truth.
What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream. because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. They say I'm a survivor, but I don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human, a body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. Living is how I honor them. Speaking today is to help me find some sort of justice for them. And I will never let him take that from me.
To confront Bryan Kohberger after she came so close to being his victim, and he walked right by her. That's like massively traumatic. Her life has completely changed from this. Like, she's only, 21 now? This woman is going to need counseling for many, many, many years. And the only person responsible for this is Bryan Kohberger. And that's what victim impact statements are supposed to be. They're supposed to tell the judge, this is how my life has been affected by this happening. And this person deserves an enormous sentence. Ben Mogan's impact statement was particularly hard to listen to, specifically because of his troubled past and how Maddie helped him. It's just tragic.
Maddie was my only child that I ever had. She's the only great thing I ever really did, and the only thing I was really ever proud of. And I went through a lot of issues with addiction and with substance abuse, and when I wasn't wanting to live anymore, she was what would keep me from just not caring anymore, and knowing that she was out there and that she was just such a beautiful person kept me alive a lot of rough moments, and I'll never be able to replace her now.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment. Here again, law and crime journalist Anjanette Levy with producer Allison Bankston.
I'm curious, did it seem like any of this was registering for Bryan? You know, you had a good view of him. How was he reacting to these emotional victim impact statements?
As some of the other family members spoke, you know, it's like, is this even affecting him? Is it upsetting him? Is he somebody who actually feels anything? He was called evil. I mean, he was called all kinds of things. And what struck me was when Scott Laramie, Maddie Mogan's stepfather, talked about the need to have evil locked away, he almost nodded in agreement. Bryan Kohberger did.
Maddie was taken senselessly and brutally in a sudden act of evil. We know the law allows us to comment on the defendant and his sentence. We support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil.
So it makes you wonder, does Bryan Kohberger, you know, does he have the ability to reflect and realize, I am a really damaged human being? Like, is he that introspective, and does he have the ability to see that, you know what, I am evil and I do need to be locked away forever? I mean, because it was almost like it's an ever so slight nod in agreement.
Here's Stephanie and crime analyst Body Movin'. They're joined by former homicide prosecutor Jarrett Ferrantino. Ferrantino is a seasoned trial attorney who's prosecuted some of the most complex and high-stakes cases in the country, including multiple death penalty trials.
As victim statements go, I mean, listen, we've all been in courtrooms. I mean, obviously, you've been in more than any of us combined. But, you know, victim statements, to your point, is very powerful. But what's your response to how he behaved?
Bryan Kohberger is dead behind the eyes. Seeing him in those prison clothes again, seeing how pale he was. I mean, he looked like a psychopath.
That's a really great observation because
Yeah.
you know what? He is detached and devoid of emotion. That is
That
him.
is
That
a
is BK.
psychopath at its core. They do not feel the same emotion that the rest of
No.
us do.
I want to say, and I don't know, maybe this is just what I want to think, but I want to say, Olivia, it was really the only reaction he had all day was to her words.
My name is Olivia, and I'm the big sister of Kaylee Gonzalez, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogan as a sister too. I'm not here today to speak in grief. I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are. Sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? What were Kaylee's last words?
Her poise was unbelievable. Her telling the murderer, sit up straight when I talk to you.
Yes. Did you tell what you were thinking and feeling before leaving the home? And she was doing these things because of the Reddit survey Bryan Kohberger did.
Exactly.
She
We
was
should talk about
mimicking
that.
him.
Yeah.
She was
What a
mimicking
joke.
him, and I loved it
Mhm.
because it's like it's an inside thing, right?
And
It was
if
so
anyone doesn't
perfect.
know what that is, something that we always thought was very interesting and troubling was that when Bryan Kohberger was getting his, PhD in criminology, smarty pants that he is, he had done this really strange survey where he sent out questions to prisoners asking very specific questions that were kind of daunting. And I mean, in retrospect, like straight up scary, horrifying, and a real tell. And those questions are what Kaylee Gonzalez's sister basically repeated back to him in jest. And it was really a total masterclass.
She was mocking him. She started off by saying, you're a psychopath, you're a sociopath. Then she proceeds to mock him. And narcissism is he's a narcissist. And she's saying to him, you have no power over me. Here I am, another young, beautiful woman looking you in the face, telling you how small you are.
You know what else I really loved was when Steve Gonsalves, the father of
Ugh.
Kaylee, one of the victims,
Yes.
got up there. So the podium was sort of facing the judge. Okay. He physically turned the podium very abruptly, I might add, to face Bryan Kohberger, and he was literally talking directly to him.
Today, we are here to finish what you started. Today, you've lost control. Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families, the wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Looking back when the police officers knocked on my door, told me what happened to my child, told me what happened to Maddie Mae, I don't think he was even out of the driveway before my kids turned around and looked at me and said, what do we do, Dad? I told them, you get to work. You get your ass to work. And we started calling, we started texting, we started emailing. And you know what? Within hours, we had your white car on the camera. We knew We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree. You're a joke. Complete joke.
And he just lays it out. You're a joke. And the only thing you've done is unite people in our vendetta against you. And he presented this really great united front from all of the victims' families. They're all united. They might disagree on certain things, like the death penalty, for instance, but they are all united in their disdain for him.
Can you imagine the
actual
that
family
level
members?
of grace for the actual family members? It's really just a testament to the human spirit. And, just as a reminder, the stuff that we all complain about or stress about, or we get stirred up, and then you hear these incredible humans and they have this fortitude to push on and to see a better day ahead.
Xana Kernodle's aunt, Kim, stood out to me in a particular way.
My name is Kim Kernodle. I am Xana's aunt. I was very blessed to have her in my life, in our family. And I thought I had everything in my head, what I wanted to say, but it kind of went out. And I'm always looking for the positive thing, because evil, hate can destroy people. And that's what it started doing with our family. Bryan, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you, because I no longer could live with that hate in my heart. And for me to become a better person, I have forgiven you. And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, get my number. I'm here, no judgment, because I do have questions that I want you to answer. And I'm here. I'll be that one that'll listen to you.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment. Here again, journalist Anjanette Levy from the Law and Crime Network.
I was shocked when Xana's aunt said she had forgiven him and she wanted answers and that he could call her anytime. There is a no contact order, but still, wow, I thought that was very powerful. And he just sat there. He just sat there. He does not deserve the grace that she offered him.
Ethan Chapin's family did not attend Bryan Kohberger's sentencing hearing. Instead, they chose to spend the day together as a family. A few days later, they released a statement thanking law enforcement for their hard work and honoring their son and brother. Quote, "From the time you were a baby to when we dropped you off at college, you were an absolute joy and the glue that held our family together. We love you, miss you, and promise to continue honoring your legacy." On July 23rd, 2025, after several powerful, heart-wrenching victim impact statements, the air inside the courtroom was thick with anticipation. Friends, family members, and members of the public sat in absolute silence. They were waiting to see if admitted killer Bryan Kohberger would finally speak. Would he, at long last, reveal why? Any kind of motive, any sort of reason for the brutal, unthinkable murders of Madison Mogan, Olivia Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Just 3 weeks earlier, at his plea hearing, Kohberger had said almost nothing, and for the grieving family members, for friends, for the public, it felt like a slap in the face. Still, there was hope. There was hope that just maybe sentencing would be different. Would he offer any reason that might help these families make sense of the senseless and begin to heal? Or would the questions, mystery, and pain continue to linger unanswered forever? Here's Judge Stephen Hippler in the courtroom.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, you have an opportunity to make a statement if you wish to. I take it you are declining.
I respectfully decline.
Here's Stephanie Leidecker with crime analyst Body Movin and former homicide prosecutor Jarrett Ferrantino.
He was asked this, and his quote was, "I respectfully decline."
Yeah.
I almost threw the television against the
What
wall.
were you expecting, though?
I was
knew he wasn't
expecting,
gonna
I'm
allocute-
so sorry.
Oh my gosh, no. That is not who BK
No.
is.
It
I know.
is-
It's so hard to demand him to be normal because he's not.
Why was there no allocution? Why did he not have to speak?
Well, he just doesn't have to. I hate to, that's the answer. He doesn't have to. The prosecutor could not have forced him to do that. He could have leveraged that and made that request and made it a condition of the plea, but you cannot compel a factual allocution of that nature.
Could Bill Thompson have said something like this? Could he have said, we're going to take the death penalty off the table and give you life in prison, but you have to tell us where the knife is. Tell us where the murder weapon is. And if we go dig it up and it ain't there, you're not getting the deal. Could they have done something like that?
Yeah, right?
Yes. So he could have. The thing is, he didn't. Bill Thompson was saying in his press conference afterwards, we saw an opportunity to resolve the case, end the litigation, not do the trial. And he specifically said, we wouldn't have believed what he said anyway.
Who is he to decide that, though?
But you don't have to believe him. If he tells you where the knife is and you go dig it up and it's there, then you know he's telling the truth. What does it matter if he's lying or not? Like,
you know, he could have asked that, and he had leverage at that point because you didn't agree to the deal, and Kohlberger's life still hung in the balance to say, all right, Bryan, you want us to take the extreme step of taking death off the table. You got to give us something other than saying you did this. You got to tell us why, how, where, what are we missing?
Exactly.
He didn't do that. He's trying to take some of the sensationalism out of this. I'm describing him as a very by-the-book prosecutor. He only wants enough details out to secure the conviction and move on. He's really trying to downplay this, and that's not a rub against him. That's a style. That's an approach to this. I don't see that. It's just not effective in this type of a case. You have to kind of just ride the wave a little bit and say, look, the demand of the public, they really want to know some of these details. Stop holding back.
Here's Judge Stephen Hippler in the courtroom defending the prosecution's decision.
As we sit here today, this case is ending, and we are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil, but we don't know, and what we may never know is why. I share the desire expressed by others to understand the why. But upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohlberger relevance. We give him agency and we give him power. Yet even if I could force him to speak, which legally I cannot, how could anyone ever be assured that what he speaks is the truth? Do we really believe, after all of this, he's capable of speaking the truth or of giving up something of himself to help the very people whose lives he destroyed? Rather, I suspect the so-called reason would be dished out in enticing, self-serving, and aggrandizing, untruthful bits, leaving people wanting more information, more insight, and thus enhancing even further the power he seeks to hold. Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance. Because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality. No conceivable reason could make any sense. And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohlberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration.
At the end of the hearing, Judge Hippler delivered the sentence: 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Kohlberger also waived his right to appeal. Bryan Kohlberger was led out of the courtroom, his hands and feet clinking with shackles and chains. Deputies escorted him down a secure hallway into a waiting transport van. His final destination, the Idaho Maximum Security Institution, a place he will never leave. And that very night, something else happened.
After Wednesday's hearing, the Moscow Police Department released more than 300 documents related to the case. The documents reveal unsettling new details about the weeks leading up to the murders.
For many, this was their first glimpse behind the scenes. For others, it was a chance to search for answers, to find even the smallest clue that might explain the questions still hanging over this entire case. Why? Why did Bryan Kohberger take 4 innocent lives? In search of answers, we're going inside those documents. More on that next time.
Okay, thank you guys for joining me for the the pre-recorded video today, the podcast. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, have a great day. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. I will see you guys all later this evening with our live. Bye, guys.